Mom gives conductor a taste of his own medicine. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some of the recent r/ProRevenge stories posted on Reddit. Mom gives conductor a taste of his own medicine. For a little backstory, I come from a small island where it is pretty common for people to buy small buses and have them registered as public service vehicles, PSVs, and run them along the bus routes. They work pretty much the same as normal buses, usually running on the hour like the larger buses. The only difference is that while with the large buses you have to pay the bus fare, $2 at the time of this story, in the farebox when you first get on, the PSVs had conductors on board who would take your fare, and give you change if need be, either while the bus is going or when you're getting off. My mom used to work in a restaurant, so she always caught the 8 a.m. bus to town so she could catch another one to go to work. And one day, a new bus came onto our route, and its timing means it would reach our stop around 8 a.m., and whenever my mom caught this 8 a.m. bus, the conductor on the bus always took her money for the fare, and if it was ever a $10 or a $20, the conductor would always give them back small coins. Not even dollars. 5 cents, 10 cents and quarters. This always annoyed my mom because conductors always had an abundance of small bills from accepting bus fare from people all day, but since she was heading to work, she never said anything. She always just put the change in her bag and went on her way. This went on for about 3 weeks until one Saturday when my mom and my dad had to go to town to do some shopping, so they decided to leave home early. My older sister also had to go shopping, so she decided to go with them so they would all catch the bus together. When they were all planning this, I was in the kitchen making breakfast, but I remember hearing my mother chuckle and going, "Sister's name, go and bring your bus fare. I'll pay for you." My mom went into her room and came out with her change purse, and sat at the dining room table, and without a word to anyone, she counted out $6.05 and 10-cent pieces and put it in a small money bag. I wasn't on the bus with them obviously, but my dad and my older sister were laughing at it for days. The conductor came to their seat and held out his money for the fare, and my mom pulled out the money bag and emptied all the change into his palm. The conductor didn't say anything, he just put it all in his pocket, and continued to take the other passengers' fares. I don't know if she planned this from the beginning or if she came up with it on a whim, but he never gave her a lot of coins after that. Abusing a crappy chore system backfires. So I'm the oldest of 6 children, and believe me, the house is a constant wreck needing constant maintenance. Since we're kids, everyone especially hates cleaning up. Most of it could be dealt with, however doing the dishes is an entirely different animal. Since there is so many of us, we generate dishes at an alarming rate. The sink would be overflowing with dishes regularly, but only the 3 oldest of us were old and competent enough to do the dishes. What we did is establish a chore system on who would do the dishes when. I got lunch, Sister 1, S1, got dinner, Sister 2, S2, got breakfast. Breakfast and dinner dishes were always the heaviest and most daunting loads, while lunch often only consisted of sandwiches or other minimal dish items. Because of this, what little dishes had originated from lunch would usually be left for dinner, cause of course I ignored what I could and hated doing the dishes, as everyone else did. I abused this system for months, getting out of dishes left and right, leaving S1 to do nearly all of the day's dishes regularly. S2 also started weaseling out of some breakfast dishes. Then came the home-cooked meals. Around that time I had started cooking and soon became the main chef of dinner, doubling, if not sometimes tripling the amount of dishes she had to clean, and I still got off nearly scot-free. Needless to say, she wasn't happy about it and complained regularly to our mom. Our mom had said that the dish schedule wasn't permanent and would change soon. It never did. While she tried to pin some dinner time dishes on me, I would always say something like, "No, there change was never any change to the schedule. Mom never officially said I had dinner time." Although, occasionally Mom would come out and tell me face to face that I had dinner dishes that night if I made an egregious amount of dishes if S1 complained some more. This persisted for a couple years until we moved, then my mom finally decided to change the chore schedule with daily chore cards, which evened out the problem slightly as I was stuck with dishes more often. However, I still actively screwed over S1 by planning out the messiest, Most dish-generating meals on days my sister had dinner dishes instead of me. Same applies for when I wanted to do breakfast. This again persisted for about a year or so. Then came her revenge. As mentioned before, the house is a constant wreck needing constant maintenance, and the kitchen was no exception. The kitchen soon fell into complete and utter disarray. Nothing was easy to find. Bowls, pots, and pans were scattered throughout the cabinets. Finding the right measuring cups and can openers required their own witch hunt to be found. I was getting fed up, my sisters were getting fed up, and my mom was seriously fed up. My mom asked us who would clean and reorganize the kitchen, as well as the pantry, cause it was also a problem. I say asked because it was less of a direct question to us and more of an announcement to the house that this needed to be done. I just kinda pretended not to hear, I just, as any other teenager would, tried to get out of any extra work. Well, S1 stepped up and cleaned, organized, and resented the entire kitchen and pantry. While it wasn't specified there was a reward, it was heavily implied to her, a detail I entirely missed. I thought after she was done everything would go back to normal. Nope, since she single-handedly restored the kitchen she would be completely exempt from dishes entirely to be the official dishwashing machine unloader so that she can ensure everything gets put back where they are supposed to go. Keeping the kitchen pretty and organized. She hasn't touched dirty dishwater since, and the daily chore card system soon degraded to where I am now the sole dishwasher of the entire family. Although I do still like to cook, she also cooks occasionally now, and happily piles on any of her dishes to the bottomless pit of dishes that is our sink. And get this, after like 2 weeks of her being the unloader it became more of a hassle to drag her out of her room to unload, so I do that myself now too. Pretty sure this is my life till I finally move out. I threw my father's hurtful words back at him and my brother. I, 24 male, have never been like the other men in my family. I'm introverted, artistic, and would rather cosplay than play sports. At age 14 my great-grandmother moved in with us and she taught me how to crochet. I loved it, but my brothers, Jim, 27 male, and Tim, 27 male, used to tease me constantly for it when she wasn't around, and whenever I would complain my dad told me that life's full of people that are going to call me names and that I need to toughen up. I honestly think he was just disappointed that I wasn't an extroverted jock like him and his other sons, felt like he could just pressure me into becoming more like him. When my great-grandmother died she didn't have much, but she specifically left me her crochet hooks and I was very touched. She also left my cousin an unfinished baby's socks that she was crocheting for my cousin's baby, and I could tell my cousin was disappointed. We kind of had this tradition of our great-grandmother making things for the coming babies. I offered to finish what our great-grandmother started, using her needles, and my cousin was thrilled at the gesture. After that I kinda inherited the position of crocheting things for any new babies in the family, and I rather enjoyed it because I felt as if I was carrying on a legacy. Although, it did nothing to stop my immediate family from making jokes and calling me names. Despite the constant attacks against my sexuality, Jim, ironically, came out as gay and has since apologized for his past treatment of me, so we're on good terms, but Tim is still a jerk to me. When I went to college I went low contact with Tim and my father and would just tolerate them at family events. Last week Tim announced that he and his girlfriend, Tina, 24F, were engaged and expecting their first child over social media, and everyone was thrilled. During a Zoom meeting with the family, Tina said she would love a matching blanket, little hat and shoes for the baby from me, and I asked her to send me a copy of her registry for baby clothes. Tim laughed and said everyone knows that it's tradition that I make the items. I told him flat out that he doesn't get to make fun of my skills as a crocheter and then expect free labor from me. My dad said that I was being rude and needed to apologize. I countered that if Tim was hurt by my refusal to crochet for him then he should just toughen up and get over it, and then left the call. Since then I've been getting text messages from my parents and Tim saying that I'm being petty and a jerk to Tina and the baby, but I haven't responded. Pick a fight so you can cheat. I saw a post on another sub that reminded me of something that happened years ago and how I dealt with it. Back in the time before cell phones, I dated this girl. We'll call her Heather. After about 6 months of dating she asked if she could move in with me. She was having issues with her parents and they were kicking her out, and her brother's wife didn't want her living with them for some unknown reason. Things seemed to be going well for us, so I said sure, why not. For a while things were great. After about a year of living together, I was having thoughts of marriage. I hadn't proposed yet, but it was on my mind. Then things started to change. We started arguing. She would start a fight, and after a certain point in the argument she would get pissed and leave. She'd tell me that she was going to her brother Steve's house. She'd come back the next day and things would be smooth again for a while. The third time she did this, I was a little more pissed than usual and went to the bar we frequented fairly regularly for a drink. I belly up to the bar, and guess who I bumped into? Steve. He acted a little standoffish, but that was his usual treatment towards me, so I thought nothing of it. He leaves the bar and I turn around to ask him about Heather, but I didn't get past "Hey, sweet," before I saw her across the way. She was sitting cowboy on some guy's lap with her tongue halfway down his throat. I have to admit, I saw red. Dave the bartender saw the look on my face and was like, "Man, I figured you'd be over her by now. She's been seeing that guy for months now. We're living together." I told him, to which his only reply was, "Ouch. Sorry, man," before tending to another patron. There were several things I wanted to do, but I thought better of it. I waved goodbye to Dave, left my drink on the counter and headed home. On my way home I swung by Scotty's, a local hardware store akin to Home Depot or Lowe's. They were closing shop, but I told them I'd only be a minute. The kind lady told me to make it quick, and I was back on the road in less than 10 minutes. Pulling up to the house, I half expected Heather to be there and prepared myself for the drama, but nope. So I pulled my bike into the garage and got to work. I installed the new door locks and began packing her things in trash bags. I placed the bags in a nice neat row along the porch. All the while expecting hear Heather coming up the drive. But nope. Spent a little time writing a note to place on the door and then went to bed. The next morning I wake up and the bags are still there and the note is still taped to the door. I figured old Steve hadn't said anything to his sister about seeing me at the bar and that she'd be home any time now, thinking nothing was amiss. Around noon my assumptions are proven correct when I hear her at the door. "What the F is this?" and she starts screaming at me to open the door. I opened the door, said "Read the note," and shut the door as she was asking what note. There was some crying and pleading, but I was done. I had nothing more to say to her, and I surely didn't want to hear anything she had to say. When it got quiet I pulled the curtain aside to see her stuffing the garbage bags into her car. The note? "Bumped into Steve at the bar. Hope you had fun with that guy last night. We're done. Good luck finding a new place to live." If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.